Why is Finnair weighing its passengers? Finland's largest airline is now weighing its passengers, but not for the reason you might be thinking. Finnish flag carrier Finnair has begun conducting voluntary passenger weigh-ins at Helsinki airport. Only 180 have volunteered so far, but the airline hopes to weigh as many as 2,000. The aim of the weigh-ins is to update the estimates being used to calculate total weight, since this is used to forecast payload and fuel consumption. Finnair is currently relying on 2009 data from the European Aviation Safety Agency, which lists 85 kilos as the standard weight for males, 67 kilos for females, and 31 for children under 12. But these weights often vary under certain conditions. Men in first class tend to weigh more than average, while the opposite is true for females. Carry-on luggage weight also fluctuates and is heavier in winter than in summer. Finnair claims surveying its mix of travelers will generate more accurate data that's specific to their airline. It plans to continue with the weigh-ins through spring of 2018. Keep watching for more airline stories.
Former Marine booted from plane for being too fat to fly. American Airlines is under fire after a veteran was reportedly kicked off a flight for being too fat. Chris Shelley had just boarded a flight in Dallas bound for Orange County on Friday when, he says, a petite old lady sat down next to him, then moments later got up and walked to the front of the aircraft. Apparently, she'd gone to the front of the plane and complained that the man was too big for his seat. Shelley says the crew told him he was 2 inches over the seat and said he'd have to leave the flight. The average economy class seat on a US domestic flight is between 17 and 19 inches wide, but there's no specific law for passenger width and each airline operates differently. Back on the plane, Shelley said he was made to feel like, quote, not only a criminal, but a fat criminal. After begging the airline to ask the woman to switch seats with him as a compromise, Shelley was eventually allowed back on the flight. Shelley is a former Marine and flies frequently, up to 100,000 miles a year. He's received 2 apology emails from American Airlines, which says it is investigating the incident.
Now that's what you call silent but deadly. All passengers on an American Airlines flight were evacuated on Sunday afternoon after someone farted so hard it made people sick. An unknown passenger reportedly dropped a stink bomb so bad that it warranted an actual deplaning. The cheese cutting apparently made passengers on the plane feel nauseated and overcome with headaches. The plane quickly landed at Raleigh-Durham International Airport in North Carolina, and passengers were released from the aircraft. Luckily, no casualties were reported from the windy incident. One big question, though. What in the world did that stinker eat? Okay, now chuckles aside, farts, flatus, or flatulence can actually make you sick. Backdoor breezes are comprised of minor sulfur gas components, including hydrogen sulfide. And depending on the amount, it can cause headaches, nausea, skin, and/or eye irritation. So keep it in your pants or go to the bathroom or something. Man. Good news for air travelers. The U.S. Court of Appeals in Washington, D.C. has ordered the Federal Aviation Administration to review claims by advocacy groups that shrinking airline seats have created a potential safety hazard for passengers. According to the advocacy group Flyers' Rights, the average width of airplane seats decreased from 18.5 inches at the start of the 2000s to 17 inches by 2005. Reuters reports that average seat width today is 16.5 inches. The average seat pitch, meaning the distance between seat rows, has declined from an average of 35 inches in the 1970s to 31 inches, and even as low as 28 inches on some airlines. The shrinking seats allow airlines to make room for an extra row of premium-priced seats at the front of the plane. Spirit Airlines and Frontier Airlines have the tightest seat pitches, with only 28 inches between rows. Economy class rows on Delta and United are spaced between 30 and 31 inches, while JetBlue and Southwest are more generous, both giving their passengers at least 32 inches on most flights. Baby born in flight on Indonesian airline. Childbirth can be a nerve-wracking experience, one we imagine would only be made more terrifying were it to happen, say, on a plane. That's exactly what befell one Indonesian woman during a flight from Jakarta to Bali on July 8th. Here's how it all went down. A heavily pregnant 28-year-old Nurul Saima was traveling on the Batik Air flight when she was suddenly hit with painful contractions. An alarmed flight attendant asked passengers if anyone on board was a doctor, and luckily, one came forward and offered to get his hands dirty. Meanwhile, the quick-thinking pilot contacted the control tower at Bali Airport and requested an ambulance be on standby. Cabin crew and the off-duty doctor sprang into action and delivered the baby smoothly, much to everyone's relief. You'll be happy to hear the newborn boy weighed in at a healthy 5.3 pounds and has all the right number of fingers and toes. The flight touched down just after 9 a.m. local time, and mother and child were immediately taken to hospital. A company spokesperson praised the cabin crew, pilot, and those on the ground for flawless coordination, and also thanked passengers who helped ensure a happy ending. He did, however, implore pregnant passengers to truthfully report their gestational progress before flying, so that dangerous medical situations like these can be avoided.